come. You know, I just talked about export tax and customs laws, Robin Hood. What do you say? That they're only making themselves foolish anyway. You understand? They're only making themselves foolish. And I know that this would not be the instructions of Mr. Stacia because he's very familiar with all these things. So don't make it look like it was such a criminal thing, you know. I don't want to go into the reasons for you guys being here. None of those vehicles were passed through all the system. This man didn't thief the vehicle after a while. Went through all the records of the system. You were the ones who were supposed to take us to court. GRA is supposed to take him to court for these vehicles. You know, the lawyer wrote you all and gave all the reasons. You did not even respond to those reasons, but you sent a next letter and say that you must bring in the vehicles in 7 days. What kind of nonsense is this? You know? Is this how you violating the legal system in this country? No man, we have to do better than that, right? Sorry I have to talk to you guys on this, but the law is the law.
What next, Mr. Mohamed?
No comment. They never let a comment though. That's it. You guys said it was stay silent. What a job. Y'all hiring? I mean, got comments there though.
But right now I'm very scared for my security, my family, myself, my supporters. We're very scared with what is going on present. Understand? They disarm us, you know, they leave us stranded right now in terms of security.
Allah is our
You
protector.
understand? Sure.
Allah is the protector, you know. I mean, I don't walk with guns and so on, you know. You understand? I told them that you can take my personal guns too. And these same personal guns, defending them in 1992, because I have guns since A.P.N.U time. I get guns since under Mr. Hoyt time. And these personal guns, defending them in 1992. I heard the Vice President said, you know, that talk about all these filthy things, you know. I mean, in 1992, I never know Mr. Jack Davey, you know. I never knew him around, right? And in 1992, Freedom House had 4 guns when you had these problems, right? 2 was my own, 1 was Dr. Hanuman own, and 1 was G.NANDLALL. So I don't know, you know, where all this nonsense coming from, you know. But Almighty Allah will reveal everything in time, yeah? Don't worry. You can't oppress people forever, you understand?
This is personal.
Right, correct is right, Uncle Shell.
It's
You
personal.
can't talk about democracy and then you're violating people in this way. There's absolutely no democracy in this country. And it is very sad and very unfortunate that a day like today, we have to go through these sorts of things where our government is there who claim to have fought for democracy and here fighting private citizens in this country. How they could write? You got police officers who come in and say, man, they get sent for do X, Y, and Z, but they don't want to it. Imagine that, eh? We're living in a place where the lawmen of this country can't even do what they're supposed to do because they gotta get instructions from some big buyer sitting in the office that he ego hurt today because of whatever was said, and you got people up and down wasting time. Go and look for the cocaine that's missing. You understand me? We got things. I want to know if Houdini was working at that station, the cocaine disappear. Do you understand me? Every time something going, the police, this disappeared, that disappeared. We got things in this country. We got Venezuelans coming over here by the droves. And those people are threatening us from over there. And as a country, we putting things in place to deal with these sorts of things. We fighting down Mohamed. Listen, Uncle Shell, I'm going to need to have a talk with you, your son, because I want to figure out how y'all get them cars off for this wharf without paying, because I want to bring in a vehicle. You understand me? Because and there's nobody in this place who could bring a vehicle into this country and get it off of that wharf without paying the full duties on them vehicles. It is ridiculous. And let us say by some whimsical thing it happens. 4 years later is when y'all discover, look, y'all need to go and investigate GRA. I never lie. Who else bringing in things that it didn't pay the taxes? What is going on in this place?
Somebody behind me. Fancy movie, come on.
Then you gonna tell a man to come publicly, Azadine by his own admission said today, you gonna tell people, you hear what happened? You go publicly and say that you don't have political intentions, and we gonna ease off for you. What's that? You're a bully? You want to bully people in this country? Barra Jack Dior or Irfan and on them money own this place? The people got the power. You are people vote for you to be there, or however you end up in there. However you end up in there. You understand me? But at the end of the day, you have to respect the people, and you have to respect the voice of the people. You know, people complain about police officers being disrespected and how people treating police on the road. The government disrespecting the police. You gonna send these people here to be a place to violate them and for no good reason? And then you got your minions them on Facebook talking foolishness. You know, if Azadine was in power and had done this to the government, the very same people would have cried victimization and wrongdoing. We gotta do better. You could never get the best interest of this country at heart in doing these things to people, man.
Yeah, let the law deal with these issues then, you know. You just can't send people because you just wake up and you feel that this man is a threat to you and you being in power, you know. Look, the other day, you know, I was waiting until after Ramadan to respond to a lot of things. The vice president talked about people lost the visa because of us, and he can't produce one person.
Well, I think this new tariff by China is almost like an act of declaration of war against the United States. And what I'd like to see Trump do, and I know they're thinking of different strategies about how to move forward, is really aim these tariffs at the villain of the world, which is China. And maybe it might be time for pausing some of the tariffs against Europe and Canada. And look, I think Trump has a case that these countries do have a lot higher tariffs than we do, and it is not a level playing field. But right now, it looks like the whole world has to really go after China right now. And I'd like to see maybe a temporary pause on the tariffs on the rest of the world and really getting tough with China. China, I was just listening to the interview you guys did with Stephen Miller, and Stephen Miller's right. You know, China can't survive. Their economy can't survive if they can't trade with the United States. So maybe it's time to put pressure on them.
You know, it's interesting, Robert. Yesterday, there was a lot of talk about the first country that steps up and says, OK, pick up the phone. Let's talk. We will negotiate with you, is going to be the winner in this. And the ones who come around towards the end are likely to be the losers. And today, this is what President Trump said about his call with officials from Vietnam. I just had a very productive call with To Lam, General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, who told me that Vietnam wants to cut their tariffs down to zero if they're able to make an agreement with us. I thanked him. I look forward to a meeting in the near future.
And on imports, just go to the supermarket or visit the mall or the hardware shop or the electronics store, and you will see that most of the things there are not produced in this region. Many of those commodities are either purchased directly from the United States of America or pass through the United States of America on their way to the Caribbean region. That, my friends, is a legacy of our colonial dependence. Together with colleague heads of state and heads of government, we have been working to diversify ourselves away from this dependence. We've already started to reap some successes, especially in the field of agriculture, for example, but we still have a long way to go. As we do this work, we have to be mindful that those recent announcements that have been made in the last few days will impact us very directly as a region and as a Caribbean people. We are working and will continue to work to become more self-sufficient. But I want every Caribbean man and every Caribbean woman to hear me. This trade war and the possibility of a $1 million to $1.5 million US levy on all Chinese-made ships entering US harbors will mean higher prices for all of us at the corner shop, higher prices at the supermarket, higher prices at the electronics store, higher prices for us at the shop, higher prices for us at the restaurant, higher prices for us at the car dealership and beyond. A lot of Caribbean people will think that these things that you are seeing on television news or reading about are far away. They don't impact on me. A lot of people think I'm just a farmer, or I'm just a school teacher, or I'm just a mechanic. They say, I live in St. Lucie in Barbados, or I live in Portmore in Jamaica, or Kingstown in St. Vincent, or Rima in Trinidad, or Basse-Terre in St. Kitts, or San Ignacio in Belize. These problems are far away from me and they don't impact me. That is what you will hear them say. But the reality, my friends, is that if you buy food, if you buy electronics, if you buy clothes, it will impact you. It will impact each of us. My brothers and sisters, our Caribbean economies are not very large. So we are and have always been at the whims of global prices. If Europe and China and the US and Canada and Mexico are all putting tariffs on each other, that is going to disrupt supply chains. That is going to raise the cost of producing everything from the food you eat, to the clothes on your back, to the phone in your pocket, to the car you drive down the road, to the spare parts that you need for critical infrastructure. That means higher prices for all of us to pay. And sadly, yes, this will impact all of you, regardless of what any of our Caribbean governments will do. We could lower our tariffs to zero in CARICOM, and it will not make a lick of difference because our economies are small and vulnerable. This crisis, my friends, will impact not only goods, but it may also have a large spillover effect on tourism. We suggest that the region take steps to sustain the tourism industry, as likely worsening conditions in many of our source markets will have negative impacts on people's ability to travel. We call on our regional private sector and the tourism sector to come together and to work with governments to collaborate for an immediate tourism strategy to ensure that we maintain market share numbers as a region.